Y'all know the drill. Where you from? Where you at? What are you doing? Post your flag, post your flag. Where are you? What time is it there? What flags do they have there? All that good stuff. We got some late night boxing talks that's kicking off. It's going to be a very eventful week, especially in the sport of women's boxing and women in combat sports. This Wednesday, I believe it is, Clarissa Shields will be having her second MMA match. Alex was good. Arthur was good. Nicholas was good. Eson was good in the U.S. of A. Rob in the building. You know what I'm saying? And she's gonna have a second MMA fight. I think at least I am. I'm holding my breath. I'd rather she not lose. Sophia was good. AJ was good. Flip was good. Idell was good. Alexis was good. Oh, we in here for the boxing talks, and Clarissa's having her second MMA fight, and I'm holding my breath because I wouldn't want her to lose in the cage, and that's not because I like her. I actually think she's a massive abrasive person, but it would be a pity if she loses in the cage to Abby Montez of Mexico. She's fighting this Abby Montez girl. Y'all know I don't follow mixed martial arts, so I don't know nothing about this girl. I don't know what she could do. I don't know her from Adam. And that's gonna be on Wednesday. For those of you here in the United States, you can watch that on ESPN Plus. And if she wins, it lends itself towards her overall profile. Though this past weekend, and I talked about it in my last video, once again, that massive abrasive personality that she has, it reared its ugly head again. She got into it with a bunch of people on Twitter, and it looks a lot like she searched out her name and started picking fights with anybody that said anything, even though these individuals did not tag her. They didn't tag her to something and say something derogatory. These were people that were just in a conversation. And regardless of what they said, it looks a lot like Clarissa sought these people out and started arguing with them. And I did it. I talked about it in my last video, the last episode of the relay. And it goes back to what I've been saying, that look, you try to be fair and you try to appreciate the boxing because she is a quality operator. That's the one thing no one can take away from her, that she's a very good boxer. But that personality of hers, she just doesn't do herself any favors. And it's been this way for years. And it's actually getting worse to where it's like, yo, dog, who the fuck, like, how the fuck is this supposed to help you get marquee value? You think that everybody's supposed to fall to their knees and grovel because of your accolades as a fighter, when you do realize that people don't have to care about none of that shit. Nothing is a given, and and they don't owe you their praise. They don't owe you their accolades. And when you treat people like that, it doesn't help. You could argue that fighters should be able to be themselves and be comfortable in their own skin. And you know what? They should be able to. If that's what you want to do that. But everything is cause and effect. If that is how you behave, people don't have to like you for it. If they don't like you, that's their prerogative just as much as you behaving the way that you do is your prerogative. For a public figure to have a social media account where the tweets are protected, where the account is not public, that says it all right then and there. You're a public figure. You're in the eyes of the public, and you are so massively abrasive that you have to hide yourself away from the public on social media because of how you behave. A lot of those people, they didn't tag her. They weren't necessarily see the way I look at it is boxing fans or MMA fans talking amongst themselves, that's one thing. They can feel how they feel. We can feel how we feel in a circle of each other. But if you're actually talking to someone, well, that's where it becomes disrespectful if you're talking to them. These people were not talking to her, they were talking amongst themselves. And I reiterate, it looks a lot like she hit the search bar to see what people were saying about her, and it was a lot of negative things based on what she said about that Superman comic that they did, that Superman's son is he is the way he is, and I think that every promoter should sit down with their fighter and help them understand that you can be however you want to be, but there are consequences. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There are consequences. If you go out there and you go out there acting like a jackass that you want to argue with everybody, people ain't going to like you for it. That's going to make you enemies. People do not owe you their patronage. They don't have to like you. They don't have to be fans of you, regardless of what you do. They don't. It's their prerogative just as much as it's your prerogative. Clarissa Shields, let me read some of the comments. People who search their own names on Twitter are low-key psychos. I agree with you, Karma, because you're bound to see things that you don't like. I can't tell you guys how much stuff gets sent to me about people taking shots at me, and I don't respond to it because I'm like, you don't have to like me. I understand that. You don't like it could be shit to where I haven't even done anything wrong and people are still talking shit about me, and I don't respond to that shit because I don't give a fuck. I don't care what the fuck you saying about me. I'm not gonna live and die off of the opinions of strangers. And that I feel like the fact that she gets so hung up on that stuff, it shows insecurity. That what the fuck do I look like arguing with you? If I'm Clarissa Shields, I ain't gonna be arguing with these broads because if we was in the same room, I'd twist your shit up. The only place you can talk shit about me is in a social media setting. So I'm not even gonna mince words with you because I'm better than that. Whereas, I saw the screenshots of all the different things that she was talking. I'm like, yo, you really gonna sit there and argue with all these people? You wilding. If I had to get into an argument with a person every time they said something bad about me, bro, I wouldn't have time to do no motherfucking relay. I wouldn't have time to do shit because it's mad motherfuckers for whatever reason. They got negative shit to say about me. Look, just the other day, I was sent screenshots of y'all know who still saying shit about me. I'm like, bro, I ain't even gonna argue because it's like this is what I said would happen. Months and weeks after all this shit dies down and the smoke settles, I bet you they still gonna be talking shit about me, and I would have been done forgot about their ass because I'm old and I have better shit to do. You know what I mean? I can't sit there and respond to every Joe Blow and every Tom, Dick, and Harry that want to act like they got a problem because in reality, you don't have a problem. And a lot of y'all really ain't even equipped to deal with problems. And that's reality. Social media is the only environment where you get to fantasize and pretend that you have problems with people. But in reality, the shit that they be doing online and the way they be talking to people, the actual consequences of what happens if you do that in real life, you're not willing to do that over no boxer. I guarantee it. You're not. You know what I mean? You don't really want what you're pretending you want to be arguing over no goddamn boxer. Fuck, are you crazy? You gonna bump into somebody that actually is crazy. They are psychotic. You have to be missing something in life if you're searching your own name. I agree, Sophia. I agree 100%. It looks like she searched her own name because those people didn't tag her. They didn't at her. So how could you have seen these things? We know you're not following all these people. So how else could you have seen these things unless you searched your own name? And as a result of all the different backlash, all the different arguments, she ended up protecting her tweets. And it's like, well, you're a public figure. You're supposed to have a public account to interact with the fans and develop a following. And you're so massively abrasive, you can't even do that. And you know what? The thing about, oh, well, she been through a lot. Yo, dog, your problems that you had are not a pass to treat people like shit. Everybody has their own problems. Just because you went through some shit, what you think that you get a pass to be fucking toxic to people? I told you, she came after me 2 times, and up until that point, I thought that I'm being more fair than most of the people that are out there. When that shit happened with her brother and James Ali Bashir, I was probably the only channel that was defending her, but she still came after me, and I'm like, see, this is why people don't fuck with you, and this is why you get paid the way you get paid, because the way you get paid is based on your fan base. If you got a lot of fans, you can have one belt and make a lot of money if you got a lot of fans. If you got a lot of people that support you and they like the way you carry yourself and they like what you're about, you can have one belt. Hell, you could have no belts. If people support you, that will determine how you get paid. But the reason you always bitching about how you get paid and the money you not making is because you ain't got that many fans. Now, why don't you have that many fans? Ask yourself that shit. She been this way for years. I've heard so many stories, Alex. I've heard so many stories. I used to wonder why the Zone did not offer her a deal because they're obviously invested in the sport of women's boxing. Golden Boy Promotions has a stable of boxers. Sulem Urbina, Areli Musinho, Marlon Esparza, Franchon Cruz, Sinisa Estrada. They even Annabelle Ortiz has a Golden Boy deal. They have an actual stable of women boxers. We know that Matchroom has a stable. Shannon Courtenay, Ellie Scottney, fucking Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron, and they helping all these different girls get these opportunities. They're going to have Kaylee Reese versus Jessica Kamara. I love Kaylee Reese. She's been here on the channel. One of the coolest, down-to-earth fighters I ever got to interview. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not, in other words, that violin that she likes to play, all of that shit is virtue signaling. The reason you not getting the bread you want is because people don't fuck with you like that. That's why. Don't fuck with you like that. You burned a bridge with Jake Paul. Now Amanda Serrano gets the benefit from all of that. But you burned a bridge with that dude before. Like you just ain't got no motherfucking networking skills. Talking about you want to fight him. What kind of goofy? I said that shit then. Like, yo, you sound wild goofy. Because he knocked out a basketball player. You, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, an undisputed champion, 3-division champion overall. You want to fight with him because he knocked out a basketball player. What fucking business is that of yours? He don't got your name in his mouth. And it's this type of goofy shit that it's like, look, you can be how you are. Do what you want. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. Everything in life is cause and effect. Whether you think it's good or bad, it's cause and effect. What's good for him might be bad for him, or what's bad for him might be good for him. What's good for her might be bad for her, so on and so forth, just like that. But everything is cause and effect, and you could have been benefiting from that network relationship, fighting on his cards, but you too good for that, right? I dig it. I understand. Maybe you are, but you're not making no friends. You making enemies. All you really doing is making enemies. Boxer only invested in you because of the Savannah Marshall fight. That's it. It ain't even because like motherfuckers fuck with you like that. They don't. You know what I mean? Watch Matchroom will sign Alicia after the Harper fight because of her performance. Yo, look, Alicia Baumgartner is a cool ass person, easy to talk to. She about her BI, you know what I mean? And she doesn't. It's like I talk to a lot of fighters, Mary McGee, Kaylee Reed. I talk to a lot of fighters, man, and they're all down to earth people. They're all good people for the most part. The experiences I've had with them, the small ones I've had, they're all good people. They're not massively abrasive, and never bought they BI. Since that all you've been doing is making enemies with different fucking people, and then you wonder why you don't get paid the way you want to get paid. Well, it's because you don't really got a lot of fans. You got a lot of enemies. None of the major promotions want to deal with her. I dig it, James. I dig it. When I saw that she was fighting Hannah Rankin on a Matchroom card, because she actually did fight on a Matchroom card, I thought that what that was going to lead into was maybe Clarissa at some point going to Matchroom. But the rumors that I heard and all the shit that I heard was like, nah, they don't want to fuck with her. They don't want to fuck with her because of her entourage. Appreciate that, Anderson Antoine. They don't want to fuck with her because of her entourage. So looking at the shit that happened this past weekend, you just got to sit back and look at it for what it is. You are a public figure, but you do not have a public social media account. Why? Because the backlash to the shit you say. The shit you say, it's like, yo, dog, somebody need to take her phone and just handle that shit for her. Because it's like, yo, all you doing is making enemies. And you gonna keep thinking it don't matter until one day you're gonna have to fess up. Yeah, it matters, man. You could go in there and win and win and win, and you gonna look around and see, yo, people still don't fuck with you though, in spite of how much you win, because that's how fucking ugly your personality is. That's how much you put people off. That you could be that good at what you do, and people can't get past your fucking personality. Being young is not an excuse. I've talked to young fighters. They don't act like that. Being young is not an excuse. Going through different traumatic things, that is not an excuse. Your trauma is not a license for you to treat people like shit. It's not. You could go through all the fucking shit you went through. That's not an excuse for you to go to a stranger and like I said, she came after me. I didn't even fucking know why. So I'm disrespectful to women boxers. What the fuck are you talking about? When the fuck has that ever happened? You just don't like people saying that. Most of the titles you want are vacant. And that's why people gloss over your accomplishments. Yes, you're very accomplished, but keep it real. You couldn't win 4 belts in 2 fights at 135. No way. You couldn't do that at 140. No way. There's 4 champions there. If you want 4 belts, you got to fight 4 girls. That's how it is at 140. That's how it was at 135. That's how it is at 130. Everybody know that. But if you hear somebody saying that, oh, they attacking you. Ain't nobody attacking you. That's reality. The fuck is you talking about? You can't win. She won 4 belts in 2 fights at 154. 4 belts, 2 fights. You can't do that at them other weights. There's too many girls to go through. You can't do that. Playing a victim to consumers is career suicide. I agree, Donnie. I appreciate her boxing. You're never going to hear me say that she's not a great boxer. She's great at what she does. I've been saying that since 2016 when she debuted as a professional. I've been saying she is by far one of the best women boxers out there, bar none. One of the best boxers out there. But your personality is so ugly that people can't get past it to appreciate your boxing. Because you think everybody posts to grovel. That shit ain't going to work. If you want to get money, if you really want to get money, you got to play the game. And if you don't want to play the game, oh, well, then don't fucking complain. Because this is entertainment. This is sports, but it's still the entertainment business. And a lot of people don't find you entertaining. That's reality. You know what I mean? So we got the Jaron Boots Ennis versus Thomas Dulorme fight this weekend. I believe it's on the undercard of Jamal James versus Butaev. And I have a high opinion of Jaron Boots Ennis. I think he shows all the characteristics of a very promising fighter. But I feel like he's stuck on an island, and I don't see any solutions for him so long as he stays in the welterweight division. Because Jaron Boots Ennis is 24 years old, right? He's 24 years old. I'm on the fence with Shields. I cannot give her some respect as fighters who move up in weight, win titles when she moved down. Man, Tony, bring your ass on this panel, man. Get on this panel. Let's talk about the goddamn shit. Let's talk about the goddamn shit. That's what we here to do. It's the late night boxing talks. Standing 8, I appreciate that, bro. Honestly, I love watching Clarissa because she is such a fool. Her mouth engages and she's left her brain in the bathroom shelf. It's a shame because she is very talented. I agree with that. I've been supporting her since she went pro in 2016, dog. She is one of the first fighters I became a fan of. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Ring was good, Ring.
Chilling, chilling. So we see
What's
that,
going on? What's going on?
I'm gonna go to Spade first. We see that Clarissa, she made her social media account private. She protected her tweets. What do you make of that, Spade?
It goes to the point that you said earlier, insecurity. And what I believe the situation is Clarissa is like one of those people that constantly look for conflict when there is none.
Mm.
And like what she fails to understand is that your personality, like you said, plays a big part in people gravitating towards you. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Jamel Herring, in his loss, people still have a lot of respect for him because you see he's a real down to earth person. So even though he lost the fight, you don't see really people clowning him. Like you see a lot of people like, you know what, this is a guy I like. I like him. You know what I mean. He's a likable person. I don't believe Clarissa is a likable person, even though she's good at what she does. But she wants love, but doesn't give anybody a reason to love her.
Isan, same situation. What are your thoughts on all of this?
She's very like you said, unlikable. Like I can't really find a reason to like her, even though she's accomplished. It's like she expects us to just praise her. Is that my mic?
Yeah, I think it is. AJ, what do you make of the situation?
It was good. Could you hear me?
No, it's
Yeah, I
not
can hear
even.
you. I can
How's
hear you.
everybody? How's everybody doing? First of all, hope everybody's well.
All right, we good. We good. AJ, you see what's going on. What do you make of the situation?
She needs to stay the hell off social media, in my opinion. I'll be honest, I really don't care for Clarissa Shields because of her attitude. Just like my man Spade was saying as well, all his reasons. You know what I mean? It just annoys me to hear her making comments talking about like, oh, women don't make enough money, boxing is sexist. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I mean, because you got men who aren't paid a lot either, you know, and we got, you know, fighters like Katie Taylor who make coin, who make a lot of money. We know this, you know, so you can't just come out and say stuff like that. So I think she needs to stay the hell off social media, work on her attitude, because if you have a positive attitude, that will endear the fans to you. And, you know, you were saying it's like, you know, just, you know, she burned her bridges with Jake Paul, and you were saying how, like, you know, the only reason why boxers signed her or Sky signed her in general was because of the Savannah Marshall fight. That's it. That's the only reason they picked her up. So, you know, she needs to just really work on her attitude, because a lot of people don't like Shannon Courtney either, you know.
I mean, and what is that? It's that fucking attitude, dog.
Yeah, I mean, you keep rubbing people the wrong way. It's like you don't want. I mean, because can I pose some questions? It's like, all right, because I drew up some comparisons. Yeah, it's like, all right, so like, take Canelo Alvarez, right? He's not a two-time gold medalist. He's not an Olympian. He's never been disputed in any weight class. Why does he make the money he makes, and why do people, you know, like him so much?
I would say it's because Canelo Alvarez has endeared himself to his fans, and you can call it pandering, right? You can call it that. Call it what you want. Call it playing it to the crowd, right? But that is what it takes. You have to be a man of the people.
Thank you. Is Clarissa a man of the people, or a woman of the people, I should say?
No.
There you go. Honestly, I'm not a medical expert or anything, but I think she might be suffering from some kind of bipolar disorder. I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents on it. That's all. But stay the hell off social media. Work on your career. Pray you don't lose in the octagon, for God's sakes. I think she just needs to go back to boxing, if I'm being honest. You know, because if she keeps dabbling in that, I don't think it's going to go well for her.
Me neither, to be completely honest with you, Tony. Yeah. I saw your comment. It was a very intriguing comment. Who's hammering?
Oh, that's me. I'm cooking.
Someone nailing a 2x4.
I'm like, nice. Yo, sound like somebody building a dresser. All right, Tony.
What you cooking, Tony? Tony, what you cooking, man?
we got some ground beef right here. You know, I was just cutting it up with my spatula.
For those of y'all that don't know, Tony is a bodybuilder. He's building his body, and he's going. You a goddamn strong looking motherfucker, Tony.
Bodybuilder.
Tony, I saw your comment. It was very intriguing. Break it down for the people who don't really realize what you're saying.
Yeah. So before I break, this is how I look at it. I love shit talkers. I've always loved shit talkers. I've been a shit talker. However, you have to be doing something to be respected in your shit talk, in my opinion. Now, when I look at Shields, I look at somebody who's a good boxer. She doesn't have a lot of power, but she's a very skilled boxer. I give her that credit all day long. However, in the history of boxing, I cannot think of one fighter who has constantly moved down in weight to get titles. Every fighter I know goes up in weight to fight the bigger, stronger person, the person they're not supposed to beat. However, Shields is like that bully in the high school who picks on all the little kids. And that's what she's been doing. She's been going down, fighting smaller people who are supposed to lose. Now, I cannot give that the same respect as I can as somebody who moves up in weight to fight somebody they're supposed to lose to. So her talk that she doesn't have the accolades, in my opinion, to back what she talks. Like I said, she's doing the reverse of what every fighter's ever done in history. Then she talks about women don't make money. But wait a minute. What about Layla Ali? Her sexy ass was making all types of money fighting. And we're talking about way back in the 90s.
That's true. That I want to add to this that for those that believe, and I understand that there is a pay gap, don't get me wrong, but it is true that women have made money. Layla made money. Regina Helmick made millions. Cecilia Breaker, she fought in front of 10,000 people. Like, she sells out where she's from. So the idea that the reason that Clarissa ain't making money is because of the sexism. Nah, it's because people don't fuck with you like that. That's the real reason, all right? Because these other girls in these other countries that cater to small... Katie Taylor. I mean, like, but that's just the latest example. And to me, that's a brazen example. That's why I don't use it, because Katie got that following off of the Olympics, and that following followed her pro career. But that's the traditional way that it's done, like Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar had fans when he went pro because he was an Olympian. Go ahead, Tone.
But you don't have to be good to make money. See, that's the misconception here. Because I'll bring up a case in point right now. Adrian Broner, he ain't look good those how many years, but every time he gets into the ring, he sells out. He can sell pay-per-views because he knows how to sell a fight. Like, he's dynamic. Whether you like him or not, people pay to see him. And she doesn't have that star quality. At the end of the day, it's a business. And off the business is how many asses can you put in the seats? If you can't put any asses in the seats, then you reap what you sow. You don't deserve the pay. That's how you get paid, off of ticket sales and people buying to see you fight. If they're not doing that,
bringing eyes to the screens, right? And bringing eyes to the screens, right?
How y'all doing? I like to be here, but I can't. Hold
on, wait, Battle, you skipping ahead in the line. I got to go to Shelton. Shelton, you know the situation. You've heard the conversation so far. What do you make of it?
I agree completely with what Tony said. She's not a likable person. Her personality is grating. It's irritating. Nobody likes a whiner and a complainer, and all she does is whine and complain.
Let me read the super chat. Can you imagine Katie acting out like that in public? She has all-time accomplishments, but an okay resume. I want to say this because I don't want this to get lost in the sauce. I do agree with Tony to an extent. Clarissa's not moving up in weight and taking on bigger girls the way it's traditionally done. You're moving down in weight and fighting smaller girls. Hannah Gabriels, for example, was a junior middleweight, all right? And she moved up to fight you, and she knocked you down. You feel me? You debuted as a super middleweight, not a middleweight and not a junior middleweight. So when you go down there and you beat a Hammer or you beat a DeCare or you beat a Gabriels, it's not the same thing as Katie, for example, moving up and fighting Leonardo too. That's different. Katie moved up for that fight. She went up to 140, but everybody knows she's too goddamn little to stay up there. So it's not the same thing, and it's not viewed the same way. Shelton, what do you make of that?
That is a fact, brother. What you stated is a fact. Moving down is a lot easier than moving up because you're naturally bigger than the opponent that you're facing. And another problem with Clarissa is she talks all this shit, but she has no power. But she got 2 knockouts. 2 knockouts.
You look, I'm trying to appreciate the boxing. I try, and I do because I honestly believe, and I'm not putting on. She's very good at like it's underappreciated. George Foreman once said that good boxing is like good jazz. At its best, it's underappreciated. And I do feel like she's really good. She keeps her head off the line, has a laser jab, great counters, good foot position. She's good at what she does. But I feel
she is.
She still has an amateur style. When she got Christina Hammer hurt, instead of picking the shots, she just flurried. Like, you doing some amateur point system shit. You shouldn't be flurrying. Pick your fucking shots.
Do you know who she reminds me of?
Who?
She's a female Sean Porter. She smothers her work.
I agree.
I wouldn't. You know what, man? I've been here for about 5 minutes. Y'all over here hating. I wanted to
let me go to Battle.
I love you, Battle.
Battle.
We love you, man.
Battle. Hey, I love Battle, but I know he's gonna say some wild shit. Battle. What do you make of the situation?
I mean, well, let me ask you, who do we really? What is a female boxer that I'd say the masses really like?
Katie Taylor.
Okay, so why is she so promotable?
Savannah Marshall, the person
Savannah Marshall,
right there in the.
I mean, besides Savannah Marshall, because we already know everybody likes to see knockouts. So
I would
Layla
say
Ali.
no, not even
Very
Layla,
promotable.
because those are brazen examples.
Toronto.
No.
Yeah, but she had the name too. My bad. She had the name.
Hold on. Let's take our time with it. I would say that Ann Wolf, her career aged well, and Ann was a shit talker, but Ann was a knockout puncher. You know,
Well,
you
Chris,
get it.
Yes, she was.
She was a knockout puncher. So you didn't have Ann sitting there saying all this shit, and then you go in there and pity pat the girl like, nah, you got to deliver, and you got to deliver on a deadline, especially when you the one talking shit. If you going to talk the most shit, then you got to deliver the most shit. That's how it is in boxing. You know what I mean? Like
Facts.
All right, but you want to know what it is? Clarissa wants us to like her the way she wants. You know what I mean? Like, I could say this. Julius, out of all the boxing channels, you're the one I could honestly say that covers women's boxing like in depth, right? You would think a person like her would come to your channel and like give you an interview at least, because you're the one that actually does, like, you know, you do your homework on a lot of women female boxers. And instead of at least, even if she didn't agree with what you said, you know what I mean, she could have at least came at you different. But the fact that she attacked the only person that defended her, it just really emphasizes like she's not a likable person.
I'll say before I pass it to Tony, well Battle didn't get to go, so we got to go to Battle. But I'm gonna say that look, I'll be the frick to her frack. I'll be her Howard Cosell, you know, because Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali, they didn't always have the best relationship. And I understand that boxers, athletes in general, have strained relationship with the people that follow them, with the people that cover them. They just do, because they're not going to like certain things that they say. But she is not behaving like an athlete. She's behaving like a child. That's the main difference.
Spoiled brat is more like it.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So Battle, you know, just what do you make of the situation? Do you think that people are being unfair to her? Because this is boxing after all. You get what you generate. It's not different. You know, when you got a lot of fans, you get a lot of money. When you don't got a lot of fans, you don't get a lot of money.
That's it.
You already know my opinion. We had that long conversation about Terence Crawford and and their Spence. I think it's just not enough for you to simply go in there, beat people up. It's not enough. You have to promote yourself. That is the quintessential of you being a superstar nowadays. That is the quintessential of your money, because the more people know your name, the more people are going to tune in to watch you. If you're not a guy they want to see outside the ring, then you have to be exceptionally good inside the ring. But the thing is, even sometimes that's not enough, because how far can you do that before you start losing? Not everybody's going to have a picture perfect career. So the thing is, you still have to want people to tune in even when you lose. And that's just something that you just have to deal with. So the thing is, I think people are being unfair.
She is going to be losing very soon. She's being Greteled right now, and she doesn't even realize it. And what I mean by Gretel is, there's a story of Hansel and Gretel. They went into the witch's house. She was feeding them that candy. Them MMA people are boosting her head up, giving her candy. They're giving these touches. Whenever she gets in there, she's going to get her ass whooped against a real one. And she ain't done that yet. They buttering her up. She don't even realize it. So then MMA can say, look, we beat the GOAT. We're better.
Well, this is, and before I pass it to Tony M, this is why, look, for all the faults that she has, right, I really don't want her to lose in the cage, because a lot of people like to think of her as being the GOAT or the one and all this shit. And to Tony's point that he just made, if she goes in there and she gets fucking ragdolled or choked out by some girl, that's going to be a bad advertisement for the fucking sport. You don't want that. There's actually progress. There's opportunities out there. You got two major platforms in the United Kingdom investing money in these weight classes. You understand? You got Golden Boy Promotions, a US-based outfit. They got a stable of fighters. So you don't want it to get to a point to where the quote-unquote GOAT goes in there, gets her fucking ass beat, because then they're going to be like, well, look, she supposed to be the one. She supposed to be the best. And she got fucked up. Tony, what do you think about it?
For me, I'm looking at this from a casual's perspective. A fighter like this, I'm going to use a comparison in the male perspective. She reminds me a little bit of Ryan Garcia in terms of how she's acting, Ryan Garcia is not really. He's overhyped. I think she's overhyping her talent in a sense. That's why I'm saying I'm comparing her to Ryan in the sense where she thinks she's better than she actually is.
I would say this, Tony. I agree with you to a point. I think that she thinks her accomplishments are better than what they are. The truth is that maybe she's as good as she thinks she is. Maybe she's as good as she says she is. But the accomplishments that she has, it's not what you're making it out to be. You know there ain't that many girls up there for you to fight, and you fucking know that. You know that the talent pool gets deeper the lower you go. Where you at, you probably got a grand total of 13 to 20 girls all campaigning between 154, 160, and 168. It's easier to go undisputed there than any other weight classes in the sport. And she makes it out to like, oh, well, because I did this, I'm the greatest of all. No, you campaign in barren weight classes. You don't want to hear that because of your ego. But Savannah Marshall said it. She didn't let her ego get in the way of it. In the buildup of the Hannah Rankin fight, Savannah said herself, these divisions don't have a lot of girls to fight. It's that way in the amateurs and it's that way in the pros. It's just not a lot of girls at these weights. So, you got to fight who's there. No ego, no fuss, no muss. It's just the truth. But to Clarissa...
Yeah, and I'm wondering...
Julius, hold on. Julius, I got a question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they offer Clarissa Shields her highest payday to fight Savannah Marshall and she turned it down?
Yes.
But yet she's over here talking about money, but she doesn't take her highest payday.
Because what she wants, she look, and this is why I said this at the beginning of the video, that I feel like promoters need to sit down with their fighters and have that conversation so they understand how this works, that money doesn't grow on trees and it doesn't come from out of nowhere. You have to generate it. That is your job. That is your role in all of this. You have to fight, you have to win, and you have to generate interest.
Right, but my point is this. If you are so concerned about money and boxing not being lucrative, then why would you not take the most lucrative fight of your career if that's your sole purpose? You want money, money, money. Because I believe she knows when she fights a girl her own size, which she hasn't in a long time, she's going to be slept. Savannah will sleep her. I honestly believe that. I don't think she can beat Savannah.
Wow.
I have a question for all of you guys.
Me too.
IQ and everybody on the panel. I want your honest answer for this. Do you think the reason why, in general, there's not a really a lot of eyes on the sport of women's boxing specifically is because the it's not the promotion, the money is not overall in general there. It's because it's not promotion. It's more that the fighters, the fight. It's harder to. The women are not as gregarious as the men. They're not as outspoken compared to like male fighters. They're more.
No. I think the issue is
harder to promote. Is that what you're saying?
Wait, one at a time. Tone, then battle.
I'll tell you, the issue is, and you can just look at UFC. The issue is this: the women fight in bigger gloves and shorter rounds. If you lower their glove size and you make the rounds equal to the men, it will become more dynamic, more exciting because you'll see more knockouts. That's the bottom line. When you look at the UFC, it proves that women do not need a softer touch because they fight in the same ounce gloves and they fight for the same length of time.
I disagree. I disagree. But it's not far off from what you're saying, though. What it is it's just the style of boxing that women are simply taught. If you look at UFC, you get knocked down and that person's on top of you. It's much easier for you to get knocked out because you're on the ground. It's much harder to defend yourself. When you talk about boxing, like I said, you're fighting 2-minute rounds, and it's a really, like I explained to you this many times, it's a really give and take style of boxing. You go, I go, you go, I go. It's not really much people actually sitting there taking the time to counterpunch or trying to beat this guy to the punch. It's not really like that. The thing is, when it comes to women's boxing, it's the style that they're taught. Nobody really gets them to the perfection they need to really get these knockouts. The only person I really seen that was trained to that perfection was Lucia Riker, and she was actually the first person to fight a guy in the ring and almost knocked him out. So
now, first, let me read the super chats, battle, because they're piling up. There is reasons why killers like Amanda Nunes and Ann Wolfe get respect from the total combat sports community is their respect for the game. Donnie T says she's just irrational about her value. Thugnificent says Clarissa survived abuse as a child. Unless y'all been through that, you got no place to criticize her for her personality. Keep it boxing, dogs. And let me respond to Thugnificent, right? What you go through does not give you a pass to treat people like shit. It doesn't matter what you went through.
It doesn't. I mean,
people,
like, I
hold
was
on,
bullied.
wait. Let me make the point. The people that you're doing this to, they're not your oppressor. They are not the person that victimized you. They have nothing to do with your personal struggles or your personal battles. Because you have a bad day. If I have a bad day, that does not give me the right to turn around and try to give you a bad day. All that makes me is a fucking asshole. That's it. That's it. Now, as far as Battle's point, which I want to address, you're off base because there are a lot of women out there that get knockouts, just not in America. That's the first thing. I could point out a couple of fighters that it's guaranteed they're going to get a knockout. A good chunk of them are in Mexico, which is why in Mexico, women's boxing is not a tough sell. You got a lot of fighters down there that you put them in that ring, they're going to hurt somebody. They're going to knock somebody the fuck out. That's what's going to happen. You got that French girl that your girl about to fight, Maiva Hamadou. She's got a 78% knockout percentage. 78. And
yeah, Julius.
Hold on, wait, let me finish.
Yeah.
She fought the girl that knocked out Natasha Jonas. She fought Vivian Obernoff. The knockout was so titillating, so delicious, I had to put it in an intro. She destroyed this woman's body. She worked the body from the beginning of the fight to where she stopped it, kept going to the body. So it's not, believe it or not, it's not the 2-minute round. That just makes for an action fight, which is good. It's easier to sell action fights than chess matches. 2, there are women counterpunchers out there. There are women pure boxers. One of them is based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Her name is Zarina McCoy. She's a southpaw. She's a pure boxer, and she's a counterpuncher. Very tighty. It's not none of that stuff you said, Battle. The real reason is there hasn't been marketing, and the change that we're seeing is there's actually marketing now. Eddie is marketing them now. Sky is marketing them now. Golden Boy is marketing them now.
Jake Paul.
Do you know? Look. Senicia Estrada in her last fight, I believe she made close to $300,000, if not $300,000. Bro, there's guys that ain't getting that. There's guys that ain't getting $300K for a goddamn fight.
Is that her highest purse?
Julius, listen to this.
I like that Julius after him too.
Hold on, let me say this real fast. The girl that you brought up, right, as your scenario, 78% knockout rating. You didn't say her name, but let's go with that, right? Now, you put her. Hold on. You put her on a man's event, right? Now you're adding a minute per round, okay? That's 10 minutes because they fight 10 rounds. However, now you give her 2 more rounds because there's championship fights like men. So now she has 16 more minutes to work. You also put her in smaller gloves that don't absorb the damage as much, and that 78% may be a 90% now.
Yeah, I mean, look. It's to the point, and I don't want to get too into it. I'm going to save that for when the fight rolls around. I don't know what Michaela's going to do. I can only imagine she's going to pivot and shift a lot, because if you try to trade with this woman, she's going to fucking stop you, all right? That power ain't nothing to fuck with, and Michaela don't hit that hard. That's another conversation for another day. Essentially, there are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of stigmas that Americans attach to it that are not true. These broads do get knockouts. I've seen it. I could tell you a couple of broads in there.
They do. But
you're missing out a big part of it, which is you mentioned the foreign side of female fighters are getting knockouts. The American side isn't, and that's one of the biggest problems. They're trying to get promoted here because it's America. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to make it in America, but the American side isn't getting these knockouts.
All right, Ava Knight. Forget about the newbies. Ava Knight, American-based fighter based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, former champion, multi-weight champion. Ava Knight gets knockouts, man, and she gets violent knockouts. One of the most violent knockouts I've ever seen in the whole sport is Ava Knight versus Arely Musinho. She knocked her smooth out, not TKO knockout. You are out, all right? So it's not none of those things. If all these kinds of fights are happening under the radar and you don't have a major promoter with a major platform to market those fights and show them to people, this is Ava Knight, man, she'll knock a bitch out. If you don't have that, it don't matter if the knockouts is happening. Ain't nobody seeing the goddamn shit because ain't nobody selling it.
I agree with you, Julius.
Yes, I agree,
do
but
agree.
at the same
You definitely need marketing. You have to have marketing, or nobody will see it. No eyes will fall upon it. However,
I agree with that too.
I have to say again that if you put them in smaller gloves and give them longer rounds to work with, it will become more exciting, because then you're going to see a full-length fight of one woman possibly getting battered, and people are going to enjoy it. My case in point to this is UFC does 5 minute, 5 rounds. That's 25 minutes of fighting with way smaller gloves than boxing gloves. And then females, they sell in the UFC because people see them get beat up.
I mean,
Valentina Shevchenko, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm. They got endorsements, man. They got big endorsements.
All of them. But that's my point. My point is this, is to sum up real fast. My point is this. 2-minute rounds is not a lot of time to work. I have seen your girl, Amanda, fuck a girl up in the first 2 minutes, and you could tell if she had another minute, the fight would be over. Yeah. But they run out of time too quickly.
Let me read the super chats because they're piling up. Exactly. That's why I believe she's going to knock Mayer the fuck out. It's real shit out here, Battle. You better pray for Michaela.
You cannot be talking about my future wife like that.
Hey, man, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you, Battle, so that you ready for the shit.
I know. I've been watching Hamadouche for a little while too. Like K-Dub. K-Dub put me on her.
All right. Well, let me read the next super chat. I and so many other people have had hard lives. Who cares? I'm 31 and I'm responsible for what I do. So is Shields. If you don't want to be criticized, do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Carry on, IQ. And that's the point. I made this point earlier. If I go on Twitter right now, right, y'all know I really try not to bother nobody. Stay in my lane, keep it boxing, and let's just talk about boxing. But there's people out there, they got a fucking problem with me. Do you think I'm going to argue with every single one of them? No, I don't care. You can't. And it looks a lot like she searched her own name, put it in the search bar, and sought out people that were saying negative things. And that's a really strange fucking thing to do. That's something that an insecure person would do. Does it affect you so much, what strangers that you don't even follow? Does it affect you that much that you need to argue with them? Nah, man, you a fucking two-time Olympic gold medalist, a 3-weight champion, and a 2-time undisputed champion. What the fuck do you look like arguing with the Gentiles?
Can I say something, IQ?
Go ahead.
It's the same thing. What you're talking about, Kevin Durant, prime example, does the same thing. You want to argue with everybody who has something negative to say about you. Well, newsflash: when they pay you $200 million. And you're on TV every other day, you're a public figure, you're subject to criticism. That's part of it. Yes. You got to have a thick skin. And to me, I think you hit it on the head, IQ. I think she's a very insecure person, because I do believe she goes on Twitter and looks at what she posts and looks at the comments, picks out the ones she doesn't like, and attacks those people. It's evident that she does that.
But can I
go ahead, Battle.
But like I said, I just think we have our different opinions. It all is a combination of everything. We can't just always single it out. It is a promotion for the first and most. I will give you that, Julius. For the first and foremost point, you got me, Julius. It is a promotion. But I will say that, like I said, I still think it is the lack of knockouts. Like I said, it's when you take the foreign side of the market, yes, they are upholding their end of the deal when it comes to exciting fighters, because they are getting knockouts. But when it comes to the American side of things, it's much different. Like I said, I really think it is the styles that you're teaching the fighters, because, like I said, it's a lot of fights where they teach them this give and go type of style. It's not that I said that the rounds are just too small. I just think it's simply the rounds reinforce the idea that you have to fight in this sort of style because the rounds are so short. Like I said, it's reinforcing the idea that I have to punch once, I have to give and take. Every time this person punch, I have to punch. And that's like I said.
Look at one of my favorite up and comers that's coming. I love the woman, Melissa Odessa. She gets fucking knockouts, bro. Smooth knockouts too. That you don't gotta. It ain't a TKO. It ain't a messy looking knockout. You fucking out. You are out. She get them kind of knockouts. Sanicia Estrada been knocking broads out, man. That shit ain't new. She been dropping bitches and knocking bitches out. So it ain't that. It's the
It
marketing.
is.
If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, then how the fuck you gonna sell it? If there ain't nobody there to hear it, it's the marketing.
I said you got
Julius.
first and foremost.
Wait though. But Julius, if the person cutting down the tree by themselves in the wood only has 30 seconds to cut down a tree that takes an hour to cut down, it's never gonna fall.
You right. I ain't no, Tone, I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. You are, because it's been moments that I've seen that a chick could be ready to go and they just ain't got enough time to get out of there.
But look at this. A prime example. The fight that we just saw, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, right? What round did Wilder get knocked out?
The fucking, what was it, the 10th?
Or something?
The 11th round.
The 11th round.
Right.
The 11th round. So if they were fighting 10-round fights like females, that knockout would have never came. On top of that, if you cut down every round by a minute, that knockout would have definitely never came. So yes, the shorter rounds do cause an effect of less knockouts.
And less knockouts.
You know what? I think guys need to go to 2 minutes round, because then my guy Burchell probably wouldn't have got knocked out. Was it round 10? But
man, look, Burchell gonna be. Have you seen his girlfriend Vicky Flores? He gonna be He's gonna be all right. Let me read these super chats. Narratives highlight self sports in the U.S. It's not promoted well. Bigger names don't have the proper amount of dancing partners to keep interest. George says, fantasy fight, Holly Holm versus Cecilia Brækhus. I go Brækhus. If they're in their prime, Brækhus knocks her out. Drew says, it's less the knockouts and it's more the marketing and promo. All the UFC women champs can main event and sell tickets that make my... I'm with Drew on that. For me, it's always been the marketing, because up until recently, you didn't have major promoters pouring money into these fighters and these divisions, but now you do, and you see the difference that they makes. You see the difference that actually promoting the fighter. The knockouts are gonna come. Sometimes you don't need 3 minutes. Not if you Maiva Hamadouche. You don't need 3 minutes to knock a bitch out. Batter a bitch.
Like that.
You know what I mean?
You're limiting it down to a specific fighter. The problem is not every fighter is like that. Not every fighter can come out guns blazing like a Deontay Wilder or Mike Tyson, a George Foreman. Like, it doesn't work like that. A lot of fighters have to get their rhythm. They have to have time to work. They have to pick their shots, and then they land that shot. If they don't have time to work, I can guarantee you.
Fair point.
I can guarantee you, Julius, if those women and UFC only fought 2-minute rounds and they had big ass balloons on their hands instead of the gloves they fight in, it would not be as popular as it is. I promise you. I promise you.
Now we're gonna shift the focus. We got our guy. I just want to read the super chat. Fury carried Wilder. There were moments in that fight where I felt that's what he was doing. We're gonna change gears now. Our guy, Jaron Ennis, he's gonna be fighting this weekend against Thomas Dulorme. I want to talk about how he is the shining example that the sides of the street argument was always bullshit, because he's fighting on the same platform as some of the best welterweights, what are supposed to be the best welterweights in the world, even though I don't think they're the best anymore, and he can't get fights with those guys. Jaron Ennis is a fighter, to me, that shows the ceiling of what could be a pound-for-pound fighter, but he still doesn't have the opportunities. And he's got 27 going on 28 fights. What do you guys make of that? I'm going to start with Battle. Battle, I can't hear you, man. You sound really far away.
Is it better now?
It's better now.
Okay. So I think it is a little different, considering he isn't the top guys in the division. He doesn't have a belt. He's not as marketable as the others. So of course they're going to be playing a lot of games when it comes to the side of the street because of bigger names. Don't you agree?
I mean, I agree to a point, but part of the grooming process is to face former champions. And you don't get to face the former champions because they all think they're fucking superstars. Who's a former champion? Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. These guys won't give, and Sean, credit to Sean, because he's given us a great fight, and I appreciate him for that. I really do. He's showing that he's different than those other guys, which is what I've maintained for the last 2 years. But a part of the grooming process, you see Virgil Ortiz, same age group as Jaron, but he's accelerated. He's fighting, Javier Orozco, a mean machine, a former champion, and Maurice Hooker, El Maestro, who's been around for years, real tough guy. Jaren is not getting those same opportunities. He really ain't. And it's because and you are on the side of the street where it should be happening.
You want to know
Shelton,
that Luda's ring?
hold on, let me pass it to Shelton because Shelton ain't get to say a lot. Shelton, what do you think about that?
Well, I went to the Barrios versus Davis fight in June, and I met Jerron Ennis and talked to him for about 20 minutes. And back then, one of the questions I asked him, so when's your next fight date? He told me to my face, man, we sent out about 15 offers, and nobody wants to give me a fight.
Wow.
He told me that.
I'm not surprised.
So what IQ is saying is really the fact. He's not getting the opportunities because people who think they're superstars, and I don't know how Danny Garcia can think he's a superstar when he hasn't beaten anyone in the welterweight division.
No one.
Don't want to fight him. In my opinion, Danny Garcia needs that fight.
Thank you.
Paulie Malignaggi.
Who the hell is Paulie Malignaggi?
I'm gonna just say this.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Let's control the shit, Tone.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I'm gonna say this, Julius, and you're not gonna like it, but I'm gonna say it anyways because I'm reminiscing about the other day when we was talking about Shakur Stevenson. So, Boots Ennis, he looks very promising, but I have to ask the same question that you asked: Who has he beat? Who has he beat?
I understand.
Nobody. Nobody.
Wait. Let me say this. My point is this: Who has he beat? Now there was two other fighters that looked severely dodged. You had Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. Both of them found their ways to belts. Why can't Ennis?
Well, let's think. Well, now, wait. Let me do this. This is going to be a little complicated. Well, not really complicated, but okay. Who's got the belts? Errol has 2. Ennis is not going to get the time of day from Errol. Crawford, he has 1, but he's spoken for. He's got a mandatory challenger to satisfy, and the politics of boxing. Let's be honest. You fight on Showtime. He fights on ESPN. If you want him, based on where you are, you're going to have to go to him. You can't get your people to offer him enough money to come to you because you're in a different pay scale. That guy gets $4 million, regardless of whatever. He gets $4 million every time he gets out there. Are you prepared to offer him in excess of that to leave his platform? Because that's what you would have to do. And that's not going to happen. We all know that. So what Jaren Ennis needs, like let's say Jaren Ennis was a top-ranked fighter. What Top Rank would do for this guy is they get him a Danny Garcia guy, a guy like that, because if he knocks that guy out, that's a statement victory. That's what that would be. But he's not getting that because he's in a den with a bunch of peacocks and prima donnas. Everybody thinks they're a superstar over there, bro.
I don't know, Julius. Like, we just seen it with Berlanga. Everybody was real big on him till he actually finally stepped up in competition. He ain't look like the same killer that he used to be. Ennis looks great. But
it sounds like you're saying
what happens when he steps up?
I'm telling you, it sounds a lot to me like you're saying he ain't
the fight.
You saying he not the real thing? I think he's the real thing. I'm gonna say that. I am gonna say that.
I'm saying that Deontay Wilder was the hardest hitter in history of boxing until he ran into Tyson Fury.
Oh, come on. We didn't believe that shit around here.
No, I'm just saying. Quality of opposition matters, and he hasn't had any quality.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but why doesn't you not asking why? What, look,
okay, look. What I'm saying is, like I said, Devin Haney is severely ducked, whether you like him or not. His mandatories try to fight his mandatories. Like, mandatories to fight mandatories for mandatories. It don't make no fucking sense. Like, they're both mandatories for the title, but they want to fight each other.
Okay, let's put it like this. Let's put it like this.
My point is this, though. My point is this. As much as Devin Haney was being ducked and dodged, she still navigated to fight the 10th ranked guy, the 8th ranked guy. He went up the line, fighter by fighter, getting harder and harder to get himself into a mandatory slot to get Loma to vacate because he didn't want the fight. Why can Boots Ennis not fight the 20th best guy, the 15th best guy, the 9th best guy? Fights that he could make that would fight him because they don't get no money.
This is very spicy. Let me read 2 super chats, then I'm gonna pass it to Jay. Who has Danny Garcia beat at 147? Not a goddamn soul. Nobody was big on Berlanga. he been a Mamaluke. And I wanna you brought up Berlanga, right? And I said that here, that look, Berlanga's knockout streak I was never sold on it, because if you knocking these guys out that fast, you don't get to get no rounds in the bank. You don't get to work on things. You don't get to learn nothing. All right. So the knockout shit with Berlanga, I was never sold on that. Now, Boots, I see a lot of good things in Boots, a lot of good things. I do agree with you that quality of competition matters. But when you can't get the competition, look, Devin Haney has a major promoter behind him, right? He's got Matchroom. They got deep pockets. They can make things happen, or at least they've made some things happen for him, right? It's my understanding that Jaren is not an according to Hoyle PBC fighter. You know, he fights on the same platform as those guys, but he's not an according to Hoyle PBC fighter. So I believe that's a part of the problem, but it shows that even if you're fighting on the same platform as PBC fighters, you still won't get fights because you're fighting on Showtime. You know, Spence used to fight there. Thurman used to fight there. Fucking Danny used to fight there. And you still can't get none of these guys. You got Keith Thurman. He acts like he doesn't know who the man is and nobody believes him. So that shows that platform that was all bullshit. He can't get quality. You can only fight who's willing to fight. Are those guys willing to fight?
I mean, Keith Thurman's willing to play the flute. I don't even know why he's brought up anymore.
I mean, Eva, I just bring him up because he's a glaring example of all the issues that boxing has. Jay, you see the situation. What do you think Jaren Ennis should do after the Dulorme fight? Because, I mean, let's be honest. He's at welterweight now, but he's not getting the fights. So what should he do?
What I think he should do is because I had a look at the boxing rankings, like where he's highest ranked. IBF right now he's number 3, and I think he should just keep working his way maybe up there, to ensure that, because with IBF they don't mess around. You'll get a title shot with them. True. Yeah, and I honestly, my ideal scenario is he should fight the guy who's ranked number 1. I'm gonna butcher his name, but Abdul Kakarov or whatever.
Kakarov.
I can see him fighting that guy in an eliminator for Errol Spence's belt if he wants the title shot, and. I believe he does have a high ceiling, and I just like to add that, I never believed in that side of the street crap. And I'll tell you what convinced me. When Earl Spence was backstage with Terence Crawford, and he said out his mouth, "Oh, why would I fight you when I could take the easy route and fight Sean Porter? Why wouldn't I?" That just told me everything I needed to know.
And people still try to deny it, that it's Crawford's fault. That came out of Errol's mouth.
And it was funny, like Crawford at the Porter press conference, Tom Brown said, "Oh, it's up to the fighters whether or not." Then Terence was like, "I'm sorry, what was that? What'd you say?"
Oh, you caught it too. You caught it too, Jay.
He said, "Well, what you say?" Okay, I just wanted to make sure also because everybody's blaming Bud for the fight's not happening. So I thank you for saying that. Appreciate it, buddy. You know what I mean? So good on Terence for that.
Instantly.
Yeah, good on Terence for that. So I'm glad he said that.
I caught that myself. I caught that quick.
Yeah. But just, and also you got Danny Garcia. Thurman playing games. Thurman is semi-retired. I think the same. As soon as he steps back into the ring, he's going to lose, just like Mikey Garcia did. I can see that happening. The same goes for Danny too. I don't know what they're doing. I say that you should probably hang up the gloves because Boots, all the prospects. I keep saying this. They'll beat the shit out of those boys if they step in the ring.
What's happening now at 147 pounds is the old cycle has aged. The old cycle was Sean, was Danny, was Keith. There's guys that have come and gone that have retired, and that crop of welterweights, they're gone now. So you got Conor Ben, new line. You got Jaren Ennis, new line. You got Virgil Ortiz, new line. You got these new guys coming up, and the problem with the welterweight division that you don't have in other weight classes is most of the quote-unquote top welterweights are PBC prima donnas. By all rights, Jaren Ennis should have been able to get a Danny Garcia fight. He should have. You can't make that happen. How are you supposed to sell this fighter? These are the fights that he needs, but they won't fight him.
But my point is,
I think I know he needs to do
they won't fight him. You brought up, why doesn't he fight a Conor Ben? Why doesn't he fight a Rashidi Ellis?
Come on, Tone. You know they're not gonna make that Conor Ben fight. Come on, now.
No. Eddie Hearn said that Ben doesn't want to fight Avenida. He said Ben's not ready for the Avenida fight.
Why does he not fight a Florian Marku or a David Avenesian?
Come on.
Fight.
Because they get knocked the fuck out.
I'm
Look,
saying
no.
there are fighters in the rankings that he could fight, but he does not. He fights guys who are non-existent.
You're smarter than this, Tone, and you fucking know that. You
just don't want to admit that
Sam Jones. You're saying Sam Jones is going to be willing to put Florian Marco in there with Jaron Ennis.
Send the offer.
Come on.
Let's not act naive, bro.
Tony, I just told you. I just told you what the man told me, Tony. The man sent out 15 contracts, and they all turned them down.
Who did he send them to? Who are those 15 people?
Tony, we're gonna do this. You really think
one of them was Keith Thurman? I know that for a fact.
Nobody care about Keith Thurman.
One of them was Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman only has one loss the last time I checked. How many losses he got?
Keith Thurman.
How many losses he got?
Can I add something? Let
me say this.
I'm just saying.
Keith Thurman lost his boxing abilities with his hair. Like, get the fuck out of here.
So he's Samson now. So wait a minute. So he's Samson now.
From Florida, from Clearwater, Florida. Samson from Clearwater, Florida.
Bro, he looks like a creepy uncle, bro. I swear he does.
History. I know what Jaron Ennis did. He sent all his offers to 140 pounders. That's all it was.
Let's be real, Tone. You don't actually expect if Eddie Hearn is telling you that he don't think that Conor is ready for Avanesian, right? He said that. What makes you think he would want to put him in there with a blue chip guy like a Jaron Boots Ennis?
I just don't see what y'all see. I don't see it.
Oh, you're crazy.
The thing is,
let me say this right quick. Let me say this.
I do not.
Sean Porter was asked about Boots Ennis 5 months ago. You remember that, IQ?
I remember that.
And he said out of his own mouth, I'm not fighting that guy.
I know what he said.
The only way I'll fight that guy is if I have to.
I'm gonna put it like this. I remember going on Black and Brown's channel, and we was talking about the Virgil Ortiz and Terence Crawford fight, and I was like, bro, Terence Crawford would tear that man to pieces, and then everybody got on. It was like, bro, why you capping about something you don't trying to see the fight? I'm like, wait a minute. That's the fight I really want to see. That's the fight I number one want to see. I'm like, so why do you think Crawford beats him? I'm like, just because the guy I don't think he'll win doesn't mean I don't want to see the fight. I want to see the fight, but I don't think he would win. It's the same thing.
Personally, I agree with you, Battle. I think that Terence would beat him, but I think Virgil would give a good account of himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even if you don't see anything with Jaron Ennis, it shouldn't be a reason why he shouldn't get a fight.
Put his ass in there, is what I say. Put Virgil's ass in there and see what happens.
Virgil wants it. Virgil wants it. He wants all the smoke, man.
Listen, this is the shit, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Call me a fanboy. I'm gonna be a Crawford fan whether he win or lose. I don't give. That's Crawford. That's my guy. I'm a fan of that fighter. You understand? So I'm not gonna shit on him if he loses to a Virgil Ortiz. Though I will say, Virgil is not ready to win that fight. He needs.
I don't think he's ready defensively.
Maybe two or three more fights. Maybe 2 or 3 more. 2 or 3 more before he's ready.
2 or 3 more fights.
Before he's ready for a title shot.
Let's say it like this.
I didn't think Virgil was ready, but how he handled himself against Mean Machine, I think he's ready. I think he's ready.
Virgil Ortiz.
You know what? You know what? Hey, you know what I think? You know what I think? Right quick. You know what I think? I think if Ortiz should fight Avanesian, and if he beats him, he's ready.
Virgil Ortiz uses his face for defense. He is not ready.
Say that too. He needs Avanesian.
No. I'm gonna put it like this: Virgil Ortiz is ready for a guy like Terence Crawford, but he's not ready for Terence Crawford. If that makes sense. He's ready
Somebody got a lot of background noise coming through. Let me just chill for a second. Okay, this is the thing. Virgil just beat Mean Machine, who beat David Avanesian. So Avanesian isn't necessarily the litmus test. What you have to say about Virgil is that he's world level now. He's world level. He is a contender now. He's not just a prospect. He is world class. But is being world class, does that mean you're ready for Terence? No. He's fought world class guys. Mean Machine was one of them. A lot of people the dude is a 2-time Olympian. Okay? He comes from a great amateur background. Yes, he looked like shit with Ray Robinson. It fucking happens. This is boxing, all right?
Styles make fights.
Styles make fights. All right, Ray Robinson is a spoiler, and I mean, like honestly, he's a spoiler. He's a pure boxer. He knows how to fight negative. He knows how to defend himself. That's
You know what it would be like, Reem? It would be like it would be like, yeah, technically, if you like, I'm putting quotation marks, but you can't see it. Technically, Tio is considered the best at 135, right? But at the same time, is he ready to beat somebody at the top of the pound for pound list like Josh Taylor? Well, what do you have, Josh Taylor, by the way?
I have him above Teofimo because there's no franchise madness. So, I mean, nobody's arguing at 140 pounds over who's the undisputed champion. He is the undisputed champion.
He's the man.
He beat Ivan Baranchyk. That's one. He beat Regis Prograrius. That's two. That's two active reigning world champions. He beat Jose Ramirez. That's three. Now, how many did Teofimo beat? Two. Richard Comey, Vasil Lomachenko. Taylor, Lopez. That's how I have it. You know what I mean?
Ray, could I add something?
It would be like,
go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I suggested Avanesian is because of the infamous triangle theory that I love so much in boxing. Because Virgil, if Virgil fights Avanesian, him, Ortiz, and Mean Machine will about fought each other, and Avanesian might be that spoiler. You never know. That's just, you know. I mean, I don't think. I
agree. I agree with your stance because that's the stance that I have. It's just that what is Mean Machine? An action guy. What is David Avanesian? An action guy. So it's the base style that I'm looking at. That well, you already fought an action guy that beat that action guy. So his base style is not going to show or bring anything that you didn't already get from the Mean Machine fight. Now let me read these super chats because they're piling up. Stephen Edwards said, who helps train Boots, said he beats anyone from 147 to 160 right now. He's a mix of Roy Jones and Too Sharp Johnson. If Errol's press conference, when asked about Crawford showing up at the fight, he responded with that weirdo shit. That shit aggravated me because it's
that pissed me off, man.
Is that where we are to where we're gonna put up with this kind of like seriously? You gonna seriously act like you don't know why he here? Like come like
did he say he wants to grow? Did he say he wants to grow, ride around on horses and grow chickens?
He want to grow chickens and he want to grow chickens in his backyard.
He want to go to the club and take his shirt off again.
George says Ennis and Ben Burry Thurman. I mean, Thurman at this point is a quasi-retired fighter. I feel that I don't know who on the panel said it, but I did agree that he's a loss that's waiting to happen.
It's what happened to Mike is going to happen to him when he comes back, I believe.
2 years, bro. 2 years without a fight. And why? Sean got a goddamn tune-up fight last year in Sebastian Formella. What the fuck is keeping you out of the ring? There's no excuses for it. There's just
none whatsoever.
Yeah, like you, it's kind of like where is this energy gone? Like I'll never forget when Jamel, I forgot who he beat. I'll never forget. I think he got like a knockout. He was tired of people like talking crap about him, and it was doing a post fight interview, like you know when they're in the ring, and it was asking like Jamel who he wants, and you know Jamel he was like out of breath because he was like, you know he was out of breath from celebrating like he just got a knockout. It almost like he was going to scapegoat around like the obvious question, like, hey, bro, do you want to fight the champions in other division? Because you're the WBC. Do you want to unify? And he was going to scapegoat around. He was like, you know what, man? Forget all this. I'm tired of people talking about me, man. I want her. Give me her. And like that's what kind of like fueled him because he was like, bro, I feel like I can destroy an elephant right now. I just knocked this guy out. Like, give me her. But you don't really see that fire anymore because even though I really think Errol Spence didn't want to fight with Terence Crawford, I can notice it from both sides because you remember when Terence Crawford was on Top Rank, not Top Rank. Well, he was on ESPN, and they did an interview. It was like, and Max Kellerman himself literally made it as clear as they question: is there anybody in particular do you want to fight right now? And Terence Crawford was like, anyone, just give me anyone. I'm like, bro, why don't you just say Errol Spence Jr.? I mean,
that don't mean nothing though.
That technically means anyone.
Shit. No, it ain't even shit. Like, I know what Battle is getting at there. I don't even have the energy for you anymore because I know that you don't want to fight. So I ain't even going to keep pressing this shit. Like, bro, what I'm going to beat this drum for when I know this cat don't want to fight? I'm going to feel stupid. Even though they don't know what I know, I'm going to feel stupid doing that because I'm like, what the fuck I keep calling out this cat that clearly don't want to fight me? If they don't know or they don't want to accept it, that's their fucking prerogative. but I know he don't want to fight me. We've been at this shit for 3 fucking years, bro. He made every excuse in the book. I'm not gonna keep. Another reason I think Terence does not name drop Errol a lot is because he gonna feel like I'm just some challenger that's trying to challenge you, and I'm your subject. Like, nah, I ain't your fucking subject, bro.
And he
I'm
knows it ain't gonna
agreeing.
happen too.
Yeah, like I'm not a fucking subject, bro, and I'm not your subject. I don't gotta wait for you to get a fucking payday. I get out there, I get $4 million every time I get out there, bro. Fuck you and fuck that fight. That's how I think.
Can I ask a question right quick? Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Here's my question. Errol Spence, when he was active, because he's injured now, was the 2-belt unified welterweight champion of the world, considered the best welterweight in the world. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys going to sit up here and tell me that the guy who is supposed to be the guy in that division can't make any fight that he wants to make in that division if he wants to make it?
Well, actually, I'm not kidding. I'm standing here and tell you that's not the case.
Well, no, I mean, I can answer that. I can answer that. You know why? You know why, Sheldon?
Why?
Because after the Danny Garcia fight, he said at the post-fight press conference, "Oh, I'm gonna take some time off. Then I'm gonna leave it up to my manager Al Heyman to make the final say, just like all the rest of them do."
Listen,
Al Heyman's not a manager; he's an advisor.
No,
Well, I mean, you know,
but let's keep it real, shit. Let's keep it real. That I don't think that Errol Spence is necessarily, even though.
Why did Ring got you stopped?
Hello pursued Lara. He never
Ring,
had
your
the
mic died. Your
Hold
mic
on,
died real
Ring,
quick,
you
bro.
gotta cut out. You cut out for a few
Your mic
seconds.
died, IQ. Go back again.
Yeah, I thought we just stopped.
Oh, you can hear me? You can hear me?
I got you now. I got you now.
All right. Now, even though the fighter can pursue a fight the way that Canelo chose to fight Lara, right? I don't think that Errol has that liberty. I honestly don't. Now, I'm not trying to excuse him or pardon him, but I'm just saying that they some hoes on the track, and Al Heyman is they pimp. That's what I firmly believe. That's what I believe. They don't make those. They not at liberty to make those decisions. Because I'm like, yo, Errol, you like you supposed to be the man and all of that. You saw all these pay-per-views and all this bullshit and all of that. So if you the A side, the way you say you is, then the onus to do the Crawford fight is on you. It's on you to do it, but it hasn't happened yet, right? All right, so we know you don't want it.
It's like,
I agree 100%,
even
and that's my point. I agree 100%, and that's my point. Stop saying that you're the big fish and that you're your own boss, because clearly you are not.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I remember last September, Earl Spence released a tweet saying how like he's it at 147, no manager controls what he does. And then, like I just said after the Garcia fight, oh yeah, I'm gonna leave it to Al Heyman to make just decide what I do next. Like, wait, bro, I thought you was calling the shots, man. And remember Ring, how he's saying like, he was talking about how he wants the Canelo fight, but I'm gonna leave it up to up to the suits to
Exactly.
Who are these suits? Who are these suits that you talking about?
JJ, 1 minute he's a suit, the next minute he leaves it up to the suits. Which
Thank
one
you.
is it, bro?
Make up your damn mind, bro. I mean, seriously. I mean, like even after the Castano fight where Jamel got the draw, he said the same thing in the ring when they asked him, "What's next?" I got to leave it up. I got to talk to Al Heyman first.
Then stop saying I'm my own boss and I call the shots. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. You made your point.
Stop saying
yes, we all agree. We all agree. And it needs to stop. It's embarrassing. It really is.
What I'm glad about is that this crop of welterweights, a lot of these guys, they're in their 30s, that they're in their fucking 30s. Thurman is in his 30s, Errol's in his 30s, and the new cycle is here, which is what I'm happy about, because this era of welterweights, I don't include Terence in it because once again, it's not his fault. You can only fight who's willing to fight. But this era's going out. The new era is here. However, Virgil's getting the fights that he needs, but Jaron is not. Jaron needs to have that Danny Garcia fight. He needs to have that Keith Thurman fight. And unfortunately for him, I don't think he's going to get those fights. And I don't think he's going to get the fights that he needs until he moves up to junior middleweight. That's the only place I see him getting the fights that he needs.
Yeah, Ray, quick,
I agree 100%.
Ray, quick question about that, about Jaron. Is he locked down to the PB, like Does he have a contract with them? Is he a free agent? You know,
He's a free agent. He doesn't. He fights. He has to deal with Showtime, not the PBC.
Exactly.
Okay, so he's not locked down. He's not locked down.
Exactly. He's not an according to Hoyle PBC fighter. He just fights on the same platform as some of their fighters, but he is not an according to Hoyle PBC fighter.
Okay. Because like if that's the case, can he just go anywhere pretty much and fight anyone? I mean,
look, you want my honest opinion? I think
they got to sign the contract, bro. They got to sign the contract.
It ain't even that, Shelton. I think that the minute that Showtime deal is up, he needs to see about either going to Top Rank or going to Matchroom, because staying where he at, he not gonna get them fights, man. He not gonna get them fights.
Because side note, by the way, guys, side note, Eddie just signed Montana Love. I don't know if you heard about that.
I heard about that.
I did hear about that. Yeah, I did.
He's trying to capitalize on him ASAP.
Listen, that's a good signing. He just beat a former champion in Ivan Baranchik.
He did look pretty good.
The belts is about to go vacant at 140. We all know it. Josh probably gonna stay there for one, if not two more fights, the max, maybe three. Right? But in that time, you could line Montana Love up for a goddamn belt. Even if he can't get a Taylor fight, it's cool. I'll line myself up for a belt. By the time you leave, I catch it. It's cool. All right. Now, Jaron, it depends on what he wants to do. If he's going to go up to 154, then stay put and stay with the PBC. I know we don't like the PBC, but they got the guys at 54. And I think the guys at 54, they will fight him. I think he could get an Erickson Lubin fight. I think he can get a Julian Williams fight, a Jared Hurd fight. I think those are realistic fights for him. The guys at welterweight don't want to know. They don't want to know.
Bring out. I wasn't here for your live stream. What was your thoughts on the Shakur Stevenson? I was so wrong on my prediction. I picked Jamel.
I picked him too. Battle. I picked him too, man.
No, it's all right. I mean, Battle. If you go to the morning boxing talks from 6 days ago, somebody mic is making wild noise. If you go to the morning boxing talks from 6 days ago, right? Let me mute the mics because it's a lot of background noise. I did Ronnie, shout out to Ronnie. We talked about it 6 days ago, and it was what I said that, like, yo, do you think that Shakur could get in there real quick, shoot a jab, land it, and then get out before Jamel could counter? Yes, I think he could do that. Do I think he could do that to the body? Yeah, I think he could do that. And I think that, look, I like Jamel Herring. I respect him. He's a great guy, great human interest story. But that's the fight that I thought we was going to see. That he's too quick, man. Shakur's too quick. You know, like that speed. It's easy to sit here and say that timing beats speed. But does he have the timing to beat that speed? I didn't think he could, and he didn't, and it's okay. You know, Shakur's a good fighter. It's okay, but that was what I was expecting. Like, yo, this kid's too quick for him, man. And Demon Speed, that's gonna be the story of the fight. If you watch every single round, watch it all back. He is too fast for him. You're not even getting the chance to counter him. He too
didn't
quick.
Win a round like that.
Maybe the fifth. Maybe.
But yeah,
I gave Jamel the fifth. I had 9-1 too at the time of the stoppage myself. I gave Jamel the fifth. Yeah. I thought he did some good inside work, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, like Lomachenko's the only one that's gonna be able to give Shakur problems from 130 to 135.
No, I agree.
No, I don't see that like that.
He beats the brakes off Lomachenko.
I'm gonna say this. Wait. Let's slow down. I'll say this. That fight is not next, but if and when the time comes for that fight, Shakur will beat him.
Yeah, he's 33 right now, so
yeah,
even a year from now, it's.
I'm gonna put it like this, Rand. I think personally, even though a lot of people are just really big on him, and I'm not a hater of Shakur. I really do like Shakur. I saw something in him. I just thought Jamel was gonna be the guy to beat him because he was just more experienced. Me personally, I think there's still like at least 4 more fights that Shakur Stevenson I just don't have in the bag. He just outright beats him. I had him beating Burchell before the knockout. I'm not sorry. Let me say that back. I had Burchell beating him before the knockout. Shakur.
Ooh, like that.
Oh, you had Burchell beating Shakur?
Yeah, that was my guy. Remember?
I know, and that's why I'm going. Ooh, because I think that you're not thinking clearly. But I don't think you was thinking clearly.
Table tennis, basketball.
If I'm being completely honest, like, and this is not even me just being like a fanboy. I know Burchell is way better at initiating a fight better than Jamel Herring is. He is just way better than
Herring
getting in
is
that
good, but
pocket.
he's not like let's be real. Like Jamel's a good guy, good fighter, but he like we all know what he is. It's just the truth. Let's be honest.
It's one fight that ruined his image, but like I said, like when it comes to Burchell, Miguel Burchett, the guy is freaking excellent at getting inside, throwing those nasty combinations and really
He couldn't
stacking.
even do it against
I'm
Oscar.
not gonna wait.
I'm
I'm not gonna go for the slander, Eson. I'm gonna ask you a question.
No, I'm not trying to slander him. But he's
I'm not.
older too, you know?
Can I just ask you a question? All right.
Go.
Let me just ask you this question, right? And I have a high opinion of Jamel's boxing, by the way, mostly because of how Brian McIntyre and the people up there, they have made him a very good fighter. You know, they really, he's a good fighter.
They let him do a world title.
Now wait a minute. I don't see no fucking body at 130 doing what Shakur did to Jamel except Shakur. So what does that say about Jamel? Who else could go in there and do that? Tell me, please. Who?
I can't think of anybody. I mean, I think the only person who are probably, I'd say, maybe you could say good dominate him, but I wouldn't say just outspeed him. It's probably Navarrete, but I mean that's a whole different story. But like,
not Colbert.
Oh, I know who. I know a guy. I know a guy.
No, wait. No, y'all not gonna do this to me. Y'all not gonna do this to me. All right, now hold on.
Wait.
No, wait. I gotta go on camera for this. Hold on. Wait a minute. Goddamn shit. Hold on. Wait.
Herring
All
is
right.
not
Wait a goddamn minute. Wait a goddamn minute. Chris Colbert just foretook Sakniambiar from featherweight at super featherweight, and he didn't put him out. So you're not gonna sit here, and tell me that Chris Colbert gonna go in there and do that to Jamel.
I was gonna say him. I know somebody else. I know who else. I know somebody else.
Wrong, Ray. He has to dye his hair red.
Else.
And bro, if his hair is dyed pink, he's gonna lose. But if it's red, bro, it's a knockout, bro. Come on, like
Ring. Wait. You know who could do that to him?
Who?
Oh, Tank Davis.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Wait, who?
That's a good point.
Fuck out of here with that shit. Listen, I'm gonna say this.
Hey, IQ. I saw a video today. They said that Shakur is Mayweather reborn.
You talking about Blue Blood? That's all that.
Now, I'm not gonna get into because I'm so tired of that. I'm just so tired. Look, let him be Shakur. Why he just can't be Shakur from Newark? That's nice and he could box. Why I always got to be with the Mayweather? Ain't nobody gonna be Mayweather. Mayweather is Mayweather.
It's so strange.
They were calling Devin Haney Mayweather
because some people can just take things from certain fighters and they don't just got to be exclusive for. Oh, he throwing a body jab like Mayweather. I'm like, yeah, god dang! Like
every time a guy throws a stab to the god, yes, Mayweather had an excellent stab to the body, no doubt about it. But he didn't invent the goddamn shit. The same way he didn't invent the goddamn shoulder roll. All right, like he didn't invent that.
Left hook either. So I mean, come on, like let's just move on. Have them be their own thing. The thing is, when it comes to, like I said, like I know you're going to disagree with me, Shakur. I mean, wow, I called you Shakur. I know you're going to disagree with me, Ray. But I legitimately think, even in a knockout, like just bear with me, Burchett is just way better at initiating. Like, bro, like you want to get in the paint and go at it, bro. I can do that.
I don't think so.
Battle. I got to respond to that. Battle. I got to respond to that. Like,
Oscar's
I think if
because Oscar like a totally different fighter. I like somebody put Oscar Valdez in the you know what the Lazarus Pit is? Ring.
You talking about the Rachel Gould?
I swear to God, nobody had Oscar Valdez winning. Nobody. So, like, give me a break here. Like, somebody.
I did. I called
it. Wait. Everybody calm down. First off, we talking about Jamel Herring, right? So when I think about Jamel Herring versus Miguel Burchell, for example, which I think is still an excellent fight, I wouldn't mind seeing it. What did Oscar use to break down Burchell? The jab. What is one of Jamel Herring's best punches? His fucking jab. That's how he beat Ito, who's bigger than Miguel Burchell and has a quality right hand. Now, I don't think he's better than Miguel Burchell. I'll say that. But that jab from Valdez, that's what broke Burchelt down. That's what took him out of his rhythm. Who got a good jab? Jamel got a good jab, and he's a fucking southpaw. So it's a harder jab to defend against, all right? I'm telling you.
Shakur's against Valdez.
What Burchelt has that could give
Burchelt.
What Burchelt has that could give Jamel a lot of problems is he keep coming at you. He's not going to stop coming at you, you know, and that pace, it could get to Jamel. That pace, they're like, yo, I got to keep moving, getting fucking tired. Eventually, he might land some shit. I still think that's an excellent fucking fight. I hope it gets made and may the best man win. But my point is we shouldn't write off Jamel because of the Stevenson fight, because how many guys at 130 can do that to Jamel? Not a lot.
Mhm.
Not a lot.
Nope.
IQ, did you hear his post fight though? Did you hear Jamel's post fight?
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, well, what he said was, I don't know where I go from here. I have to talk to my family and the people that love me and figure it out from there. And we all know that Jamel Herring is already set up pretty nice for life after boxing.
That's true.
Jamel Herring is 35 years old. Do we see Jamel Herring really being in the picture for title shots? He
Not at
may
130.
get one more.
Not at 130.
But probably
but at 35.
not.
At 35.
Yeah, and at 135, I think 135, I think it's too many guys up there that can beat him. I think this is probably going to be it for Jamel.
I agree.
I don't think he's going to fight. He really has no reason to. He really has no reason to.
Now, Shelton, I'm going to say this. I agree that he has no reason to. I agree with that. However, there are opportunities at 35 because Lopez don't want to give Loma a rematch. Ryan Garcia is a goddamn peacock. Gervonta Davis ain't going to fight nobody that ain't a PBC fighter. So I could see a Herring versus Burchelt at 35 or 30. I could see a Herring versus Loma at 35 if that Lopez fight don't happen. 35 will be an easier weight for Jamel to make. One last hoorah, one last payday. It could be that way, or he could retire. I don't dismiss that because you're right. He's set up good. He works well on the mic. You know what I'm saying? I seen him do some commentator work for Ring City USA, I think it was. He really don't have to fight no more. He don't.
Imagine Loma.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with the Lomachenko thing. I would love to see that fight.
Let me ask you a question though, Ring. Does Shakur have a record?
35 would be.
You want my honest opinion? Look, all right. Let everybody silence, right? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I know that I have no basis in reality right now for this, but I'm gonna say this. Nobody at 130 beats Shakur Stevenson. Absolutely no one. Do I think?
Yeah, I agree.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done. You're not gonna like this. Shakur Stevenson is better than Devin Haney. Shakur Stevenson is better.
I agree.
Ring. Let me ask.
I'm not done. Shakur Stevenson is better than Devin Haney, more technically sound than Teofimo Lopez, and Gervonta, that he would play with Gervonta.
No.
Yes, he would.
No.
Yes, he would.
Question.
Yeah.
Wait. Question.
You are
Wait,
smoking
hold on.
crack, Julius.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Question. Okay,
Right.
so like if Shakur moved up to 135, you think he beat those guys, Teofimo and Devin?
Not yet, but that's I don't bet. No. Wait. Let me do it though. Listen, I always base what I'm saying on a realistic timeline, and the time it is going to take Shakur to get to lightweight. I don't think those guys. Look, what is Lopez doing? He's been held up for a year with Cambosos. Devin Haney is not getting the right fights. Hopefully he gets fucking Diaz, right? But I see that Shakur is developing on the right schedule. He just had a signature performance with a good fighter, one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter in the division. They think it's Valdez. No, it's not Valdez. Why do you think Valdez didn't want to fight Herring? Why?
He didn't want to fight Shakur either. But
so let's cut the fucking crap. And I don't listen.
But now he's about to fight Navarrete, isn't he?
Now, and I don't want to turn this into a thing. It's not a thing. I'm just saying, look, I like Oscar. His fights are fun to watch. But it's a fucking fact that Jamel wanted him and Oscar chose to fight Burchelt. Well, yeah, but he chose to fight Burchelt when you could have fought Herring. Now we're hearing that you're going to fight Navarrete. You know what I mean? You just never had any intention of fighting that dude. And I know why, bro. It's the jab, and it's because he's a southpaw. Now, who else has a jab, an excellent laser fucking jab that could offset everything you trying to do when you try to get within range of the guy to let shots go? Shakur Stevenson, except he's faster than Jamel and younger. All right, it's like to me,
way
it's
bigger too.
Shakur is all wrong for a lot of guys. I'm telling you, he's all wrong for a lot of guys, and they're gonna stay away from him.
Especially Tank, bro. Tank is not. I posted the other day. I said Tank will fight Thurman at 47 before he fights Shakur at 30 or 35.
Telling you the truth. You got a kid who's fundamentally sound, laser fucking fast, sharp feet, sharp hands, sharp upper body, keeps his head off the line, everything. And he's a fucking southpaw. And he's a fucking Olympian. And you think these fucking guys are gonna want to fight him? No, they'll fight each other before they fight him. Like Oscar's about to fight Navarrete. All right, he's all wrong for a lot of these guys.
Wins? Personally, I think all those fights are interchangeable. I like all those fights. I like all those fights personally.
If Navarrete beat Valdez, that's some pound for pound shit, man.
Nah, he's on my list if he beats Navarrete. I mean, he's on my list if he beats Oscar. He's on my list.
Oh,
because
yeah, definitely.
That's 3 weight classes. Yeah, that's 122, 126, and 130 if he beats Oscar for the WBC. That's 2 world champions. That's Isaac Dogbay 2 times, and I'm still high on Dogbay. I love his fights because I know it's not going to be boring. And Oscar, if he beats Oscar, yeah, that's pound for pound, bro. That's pound for pound.
I mean, Ray, technically, Navarrete could go up and challenge
Strada if he does.
Navarrete, he can go up and challenge Shakur directly, right? If he wants.
I believe he can because he's been WBO champion at 2 weights, and normally that makes you the WBA super champion, so you can make yourself the mandatory for the guy at the next weight.
Yeah. I mean, personally, like I said, all those fights are interchangeable. Like, Oscar, Navarrete, and Shakur, all of them fighting each other were good fights.
Yo, I wanted to say, if Tio don't rematch Loma and he decides to move up and vacate all those belts, Loma's already number 1 WBO. You know he's probably gonna pick up that title.
Yes,
in a vacancy. So
he's already high up in the rankings anyway. So yeah.
No, he's already number 1. If Shakur can't get fights at 30, I don't see a reason for him to stay there. He's gonna go up. You know what he's gonna do? Get a mandatory spot. We might see it.
Let me read the super chats because they've been piling up. I've been saying for years, Bud is a bad style matchup for Errol. Errol knows it, and that's why he don't want that fight. PBC fighters duck questions with call-outs, all right? Willie Lynch says, all these comparisons to Floyd, but nobody wants to put these so-called comparisons in the ring with the names, yes, that Floyd fought. Tell me Shakur outboxes Canelo, stops Corrales out. Exactly. I'm for let the kid be who he is. Enough with the Floyd. He's the next. No. He's Shakur. All right. He is Shakur. Y'all did this shit with fucking Broner, and he's nothing like Floyd. All right. I was up to my ears with that big bro shit. Like, this is not Floyd, bro. Just because he goes in there and shoulder rolls and occasionally throws a counter shot, that don't make you Floyd, bro. Ray Robinson does that fucking shit. Is he Floyd? Was y'all calling him Floyd? No. So stop it. All right.
Yeah, I remember watching this video of this older guy who I like to watch unboxing. He says he can't stand the comparison to people saying Floyd Mayweather fights like James Toney. He said he fights nothing like James Toney. If anything, if you want to compare him to anybody, he fights more like Roy Jones. But that was his opinion.
I mean,
Floyd fights like Roy Jones. That's what he said.
No, he said it in a way that I think made sense. He leads with his hooks. He leads with his right hand. When it comes to his jab, is more so about setting up his leads and the fact that he sometimes he jumps out with his head and he catches people.
Yeah, but the lines, bro. The line, he is right though.
It's hard to compare Floyd to a lot of fighters. Let's be honest. But the thing is, I can't see the comparison with James Toney. That's just my thing. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't look. It's how can I put it? Look, James did his best work in the pocket. Floyd does his best work in the pocket. James used the shell guard. Floyd used the shell guard. What really is different is the reaction time and what they react to. James was a dog, bro. You're not just gonna be in the pocket with this guy. He's gonna brutalize you, bro.
Ask Ryan Barkley.
Yeah, like
their work rate is completely different. When it comes to James Toney, he throws a lot.
yes,
So
more
I
than
mean,
Floyd,
like
way more than
Yeah,
Floyd.
yeah.
it's way different. Like in my opinion, like
He
the
really,
work
he
rate.
really, he really explodes with combos in the pocket more so than Floyd did.
But I'll say that look, I never found myself comparing Floyd to James to begin with, though there are parallels, there are similarities because they both do their best work in the pocket. They both use a shell guard, roll punches off the shoulder, and they're great with that guard, better than anybody else I've ever seen using it, to be completely honest with you. But I don't liken them to each other. They're different fighters because to me, James was an action fighter. Yeah, he was defensible, but he was an action guy, bro. Like you're gonna see action with Floyd.
Plus now, yeah, he was a knockout artist. If he catches you clean, you're going down,
You
bro.
going out,
Ask
bro.
Michael Nunn. Look what he did to Michael Nunn. Remember that fight?
Fuck,
The thing about
you going out, bro.
They call that man lights out for a reason.
and the thing about James Toney, he prefers to slip most of his shots, and then come back in the clinch. The thing is about Floyd, you kind of almost compare him to like a lot of these, in a sense, keep away bunny rabbit type of fighters where he prefers that the punch doesn't hit him at all for the most part, unless he's on
I
the
agree
rope.
with that. I
Like
agree with that. But
he go ahead.
I agree with that. I think that James was willing to deal with more of the fire than Floyd. But I really appreciate what Floyd, like, just go back, watch the Canelo fight, man. He doesn't give no fuck, he doesn't give up no ground. He just shifts, gets under the punch, comes back with a, I'm like, oh my God, they don't do this. Ain't nobody boxing like this right now. Nobody's boxing like this. It was smooth, clean. All right.
He was 36 years old when he did all that.
All he did, and if you watch it, all he did was a shift. He did a shift. He got to the side of Canelo. Canelo tried to come over with the hook. Floyd got under the shit, came over the top with his own shit. I'm like, yo, this.
I mean, because one thing he did also in the Canelo fight that blew my mind, which I say Floyd's a true great. Like he was up against the ropes, right? And then like Canelo came in, he did a slight left jab and hit Canelo. Canelo comes with an overhand right. Floyd moves his head slightly, hits him back with his own overhead right. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he moves back slightly and misses a Canelo punch. Like, damn.
He understood distance in a way. And look, this is not the we all love Floyd hour. You understand? I like Canelo too. I like a lot of these guys. I'm just saying that Floyd really, really understood distance in a way that a lot of guys don't. That it feels like he's there. He seems like he's in striking distance, but in reality, he's not. And the movements are subtle. You think he's there to be hit. No, he ain't.
I'll say this.
Fight. Goddamn Kono fight.
I'll say Floyd was the Matrix before Loma showed up.
I guess you could say that. I mean, one thing about Floyd that I like. I mean, yeah, I guess we are kind of talking about Floyd now and his great things he does. One thing I like he did with Marquez. I know he was a smaller fighter, but I call it two-hand punching. You remember when Errol Spence was fighting Lamont Peterson? He would kind of stick both hands out, kind of to keep. Okay, he would keep one hand out to stiff arm, but then he would use the other hand to throw a shot to the body. He was doing the same thing with Marquez all night, and I was like, that is such a simple concept, and I would never think about that as sparring because, like, I would never think in my life to stick both hands out and to hit somebody. Like, it actually worked though.
I'm saying, look. Before I wrap it up, because I'm getting sleepy. If you like boxing, just different box, because I love action fighters, I love pressure fighters. I love all that shit. I like watching all that shit. But when it comes to Floyd, you got to appreciate the boxing. And I know that some people, they think it's boring. Not me, dog. The way he used to do shit to these guys, they'll go in there and have a war with another motherfucker. But with this guy, like, nah, he'll take a lot of shit away from you. He really would. And I know it gets thrown around a lot. It's a cliche. That's what he does. He takes a fighter's best attributes away from them. But it is the truth. He did do this. You know what I mean? That's why I like his boxing. But I also like Canelo. I like Manny. I like a lot of fucking guys because I like boxing. It's not even being the flow-mo, packed hard. Man, fuck all that bullshit. That's bullshit for fanboys, bro. That motherfucker was a bad motherfucker. That's all I'm saying. Not the most
If
fun,
you don't respect, if you say you're a boxing fan, then you have to admit that in the last 20 to 25 years, Floyd was the best we had. Yeah. He was. I don't like him personally. I don't like the shit he says. I don't like the way he moves. But when it comes to in the ring, Couldn't touch him. Couldn't beat him.
I agree. Like that's my thing. It's like I don't care about the outside of the ring. I don't care about none of that. Like most of the time, I don't care about none of that shit. I'm just saying, in that ring, this guy, like, yo, he's a bad dude. And I know Castillo and Maidana, like, I get it, bro. But I done been there and done that with Oscar. You think so? You know what I mean? Like, with Oscar, a lot of people thought he lost the Sweet Pea fight. A lot of people thought he lost the Felix Sturm fight. This is boxing, all right? That doesn't mean Oscar wasn't a good fighter. He's a goddamn good fighter. So is Floyd. That's all I'm saying.
Can I say something, though? It was this problem that was bugging me because we was having these discussions, Ring, and you was telling me about a certain fight. I can't remember who it is right now, but you were saying like, bro, if you move different around a certain fighter and this fighter clearly want to fight you, then it got to tell me that you probably wouldn't win that fight if it happened. But I forget the guy's name who you mentioned, and I kind of thought about that. Like sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. Like we're talking about Floyd right now, and it just popped up back in my head. Paul Williams was a guy who wanted to fight Floyd for the longest. I remember that like it was yesterday, and the guy was literally willing to stay at that weight for as probably long as he could be, even though it was probably not in his best interest to stay at 147 because the guy was way too tall. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, the guy was begging for this fight, but Floyd just refused to fight this guy. But never in my mind did I think Paul Williams just going to beat Floyd.
Look, Battle, I'll go a step further than you, right? Because boxing is the way it is. You know what? Maybe Paul would have beat him. I don't know. Maybe he would have beat him. Mm-hmm. But I know that Paul said that Floyd didn't duck me. I know that too. You know what I mean? Overall, the reason that people usually bring up the Paul Williams fight that never happened is to disparage Floyd for the fight having not happened. You understand? But it's like, look, Bo never fought Lewis, so that means Bo ain't shit. You understand? Like. So what we gonna say that Bo ain't shit because he didn't fight Lewis? It don't work
we can't
like
say
that.
We can't
That's
say
what
that.
I mean. That's what I mean. That it's like it don't work like that. Like
now, even though Ring, we know that Riddick didn't want to fight the guy. We know that.
I admit that. But I'm just saying that either I'm not gonna completely shit on the whole fighter and the whole career based on one fight that didn't happen. Come on now. So look, Crawford and Manny, they never got to fight. Crawford wanted to fight. Manny didn't have to fight. So what I'm supposed to do? Shit on Manny? Like, so Manny just ain't shit because he never.
Yeah. I get you. That'd be crazy. Yeah, that's retarded. It
don't work like that. Like, look, Sugar Ray Robinson. He never fought Charlie Burley. Ain't that the shit that everybody says? But he's still Sugar Ray Robinson.
He's still Sugar Ray Robinson.
I'm just saying. Sometimes there are exceptions to the rule that because the fighter doesn't want to fight each other, that means that the fighter is gonna, technically quote unquote beat him because he didn't want to fight him, and that does happen. Like legitimately, that does happen. Like you mentioned, like I'll never forget. Like what's another example? I'm trying to think of another fight where it was just like it wasn't in the best. Like you remember Joshua Clottey wanted to fight Floyd at one point. You remember that?
I remember that.
But the fight never happened. But like I said, it's not evident.
Look, Shane Mosley, Floyd Mayweather. They ask you about fucking Floyd. I got a toothache. I gotta go take a vacation. That's the energy. That's the energy that I'm talking about. Like, what you mean you got a toothache, bro?
And Marquez never asked for a rematch. Can you believe that? Marquez, of all people, who was trying to fight Floyd, move up 2 weight classes, never asked for a rematch. So like it happens. Like it's just certain fighters just move certain ways.
And look, because boxing is the way it is, I'm okay with this is the problem. Floyd sold himself as being perfect. So you have people that feel you have to be perfect. No, I appreciate the fighter and all their imperfections because none of them are perfect. You're not going to tell me that Floyd is so great that if you put him in a time machine, Tommy Hearns don't knock his ass out. No, Tommy probably would have.
Yeah, Tommy smokes him. Duran beats him at 35. Come on, man.
This is what I mean. Leonard at 47. At 47, Leonard might get him. It's not cap.
Yeah, Sugar Ray might beat him.
All right,
Sugar Ray beats him.
And that's okay because you don't have to be perfect. Leonard wasn't perfect. He got beat by Duran. Duran wasn't perfect. He got beat by De Jesus. And Leonard, Tommy wasn't perfect. He got beat by Leonard, but he beat Duran. It's just like you don't have to be perfect. That shit don't exist.
In the history of boxing, since I've been watching boxing since '69. There's only one guy that I've ever seen that fought everybody he was supposed to fight. Only one. It's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You can't say he ducked anybody. He fought everybody he was supposed to fight.
Right.
Any other fighter, you can say he ducked this guy, he ducked that guy, he ducked this guy. But Ali's the only one you can say you can't say that about because he fought them all.
Yeah. Well, you could say that about Roy. You can say that about Roy.
He didn't fight Darius Michaelchowski.
Who the hell is that?
He was the 175-pounder who was like the.
Oh come on, Beth.
Whatever, man. Okay, I'll allow it. Whatever.
I'm just trying to say that Roy is a Capricorn. Ali was a Capricorn. Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy. No stone unturned. No stone unturned. I'm not doing it for y'all. I'm doing it for me.
Exactly.
I need to know.
If I'm the baddest guy out here. If I'm the number one dude.
If I'm it.
I'll name another guy. Lennox Lewis.
What about Lennox? Nah,
he fought everybody.
He fought everybody. No. I'm gonna say, look. No. Wait. He fought everybody, but the circumstances of the Klitschko, I never liked it. That's all I'm saying. But I don't hold it against him. I still think he was one of the greats. But the Klitschko fight, yeah, Bob. Like, yo, you say you was gonna get that dude that cut bullshit. They fucking saved you, bro. I remember that fight. You was hanging on to the ropes. He had you in trouble. They fucking you got through with a shot. He didn't want
no more parts of Vitaly. He didn't want no more parts of Vitaly.
I remember that.
He did indeed fight him.
But he fought him, and look, he has my respect. He fought him. He has I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Lennox ain't a bad motherfucker. The idea is that people take the Paul Williams fight and they try to tell you that, oh, Floyd, he not this and that. He didn't fight Margarito. He didn't fight Paul. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. Look, Sergio didn't fight Golovkin. He wanted to fight Little Cotto. But you gonna tell me that Sergio wasn't a good fighter? Yeah, come on. Like,
who beat Margarito? Wasn't that Pacquiao and Cotto that beat Margarito, right? And Mosley, correct?
Yes. And who beat them?
Now, if we gonna use the infamous, which I hate, the triangle theory, which I can't stand it. I think it's stupid. What does Floyd do to Margarito if those guys beat him? Come on, man, stop it.
No. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Look, I get it. Honestly, I get it. A tall fighter who's a volume puncher that could take a hard shot will try to walk through Floyd's shots because styles make fights. It's reality, right? But reality is also 3 guys that he beat you. So you are not the year mark for his legacy. What? Because 3 guys that he beat you. Shane beat the fuck out of you. And then after that, he fought Floyd, and Floyd dominated him.
Me personally, I'm probably the only guy on the island that thinks Margarito would give Floyd a good fight. My thing is, it's just like I said, it's boxing. Some things is just unexpected. I'll never forget. Like, would you okay? If I were to say I'll give you $100 that Pacquiao was going to break Margarito's eye socket in a fight, like I didn't have no idea. Like I thought it was gonna be a fight, but not that type of fight.
And that's why we watch, because it's like, yo, everybody think that boxing is down to an exact science. No, it is not. That's why Douglas beat Tyson. All right. That's why Andy beat AJ. All right. It's not exact. If it were, people wouldn't even bother because we know what the fuck was gonna happen every time. That's why we watch. Now, if you tell me that you think Margarito had, and I do feel that Margarito had the kind of style and the kind of dimensions, yeah, it could be a problem. It could be a problem. Yes, it's possible, but I'm not going to diminish what he really did for a fucking fantasy, because that's a fantasy. Reality is Shane fucking beat the brakes off of this man, and then what does he do after that? He fights Floyd, and he gets fucking dominated. Those are the facts. That's the facts. I don't fuck the fantasy. That's the truth. So I'm not going to measure Floyd based on a guy that 3 guys that he beat him. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. And with that, I'm out, gentlemen. I'll catch you on the next Boxing Talks.
Hey, wait, Reen.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Oh, he
Battle.
gonna be.
Go ahead,
Are you gonna
Battle.
watch Doom?
Doom? Something about
HBO
the
Max? I'll message you, I guess.
all right, hit me up.